Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast. I'm your host, Wesley, and today I'm joined by my co-host,
Mary.
And Mary, I want to let you know that I found 4 advantages on the way to this podcast, so I'm probably going to be voted out next.
Sitting in the hallway on the floor.
There was one on top of my chest when I woke up this morning. There was one on the toilet seat when I went to go use the bathroom. There was one in the refrigerator right next to the milk. And then I found the 4th one, of course, right here in my podcasting seat. So
wow,
they just kind of fall out of the sky.
Yeah, they do.
All right. Well, today we're talking about season 41, episode 3. Prior to this episode, Mary, what was your excitement level 1 to 10 going into this one?
I mean, it was probably the best thing that had happened to me that day. So like an 8.
That sounds so depressing. Survivor's the best thing that happened to me.
No,
so
I was actually
work really sucked.
It was actually just kind of like, oh man, today has not been the best, but I get to see the Survivor tonight. And I don't really remember thinking that in previous years. So, I mean, that was a positive.
So either your job's gotten better, or sorry, your job's gotten worse, or Survivor's gotten better.
You can take that however you want.
Take that however you want. Okay. Just a reminder that I have chapter marked this video for all of you listening. Of course, we're going to do the breakdown here of the episode first, which we're doing right now. We are then going to talk about the Rebus Puzzle and the hint that Jeff gives with that Rebus Puzzle for next week's episode. We'll talk about our winner analysis, who Mary has front running, who I have front running for the winner. And then we will talk about the questions that you all gave me on YouTube. So with that...
So you knew something we don't know about the winners?
The winners, yes. This season, it's a new era. There's going to be multiple winners. The final 3, they're all winners. They're all winners.
Everybody's a winner.
Everybody's a winner. Well, hey, speaking of winners, we have some big news. Australian Survivor. To be fair, I've only watched the first 2 seasons, the 2016-2017 season, so I haven't watched the more recent ones. But Sandra Diaz-Twine from American Survivor, as you know her, 2-time winner, is going to be on Australian Survivor, airing February 2022. What do you think about that, Mary?
That's really interesting. I'd love to watch her play again.
Yeah, I'm not like really keen on watching International Survivor while also watching American Survivor. And for my job, I kind of have to be consistently watching a season to be working on story videos. But no, this is pretty exciting. Apparently it's a blood versus water season. I don't know who her relative is. I'm going to guess probably one of her children.
That makes sense.
Because I imagine if she's doing this again after saying she didn't want to do Survivor again, which I think is what she said. No, I'm sure she changed her mind. It's probably like one of her kids wants to do it. And she's like, I'll do it for you.
Maybe.
So.
I don't know anything about her family, so.
I don't want to talk about this too long. I just want to throw it out there for everyone who's listening. Big news. Australian Survivor. By the way, they've added it to Paramount Plus. At least the last 3 seasons. The seasons I haven't watched yet. Though they're missing seasons 1 through 3, and I wanted to watch 3 because it has Russell Hanson in it, but I can't because it's not on Paramount Plus. And yes, I know there are other illegal ways to watch it. Everybody, I don't. Otherwise, all the comments will be about that. All right, so let's get into episode 3. Do you remember how this episode started off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it starts off with all the beware advantages, basically.
Well, let's go back to before that.
Okay.
Before that, Liana was upset that Xander wasn't taken out.
Oh, that's right.
And she was crying on the beach.
She was crying on the beach. See, that kind of does show me how she really is a strategic player. She knows who the best choice would have been. She knows what should have happened, and it kind of bothered her, not only that it didn't happen, that the player who should have gone home didn't go home, but also that she isn't in control of the game like she wants to be, because it wasn't her choice to send Xander, to send Voce home. So I mean, it's probably a lot of emotions.
Didn't she vote for Voce? Didn't everybody vote for Voce?
Yeah, she did, but
it was Tiffany who made the call.
It was she felt like I feel like she was kind of powerless in that she wanted Xander to go home, but her alliance wanted Voce, so she went with her alliance, even though she knows the smart move would have been Xander.
I do think it's funny in, I guess, in a cruel way. I don't know if cruel is the right word either, but it's like, it's day 5. It literally said, we're at the Yas tribe. It's day 5. And Leon's over here crying that Xander didn't get out. And it's like, there's a lot of game left.
Well, yeah.
You can go to tribal council if you want, as proven by the Next Time on Survivor segment that we saw. If you want to go tribal, you can get there real quick.
Well, yes.
So I think I understand the general sentiment of, here's this big target, we could have knocked him out now, but I think people undervalue the going into the merge with other big targets around, the meat shield strategy, of course.
Sure.
You don't want too many, because there's too many, then there's not enough votes to get them out, maybe, is the thought. But you do want some, and right now, your tribe only has one. Unless you want to count Evie as the other one. But I don't think Evie's going to be listed as a big target yet, as of now.
Right.
I think if you're going to look at big target, Xander, sure. Mm-hmm. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's just too early for the crying. It's only day 5, but
also they haven't had any fire
or
rice.
No fire. Not that we would ever know that. That would require showing us camp life.
Right.
The biggest detriment to Survivor 41.
And it was late at night, and she was on the beach. I'm sure she wasn't sleeping well. There's a lot of different factors. I took it as like a positive for her in that she's really thinking about the game.
Yeah.
And obviously you're just going to get emotional about stuff.
Sure.
When you're tired and not eating and stuff. But
I get emotional if I don't eat for a whole day too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get very emotional. I'm like, I'm so hungry right now and I'm angry about it. So the thing you said before, though, is actually the next thing that happened. So after Leonna's done crying, the advantage.
Right. Because then she's making the fire and it's right there and the cameraman zooms in and everything. Yeah. And she missed it. After she'd just been like, I'm here to play. I'm here to, to take all the risks. I'm here to do everything. And then she just walks right by it, which is sad and ironic, but good editing.
Let's be honest, though. Who expects an advantage to literally be right next to your bonfire?
Well, apparently everyone should now. It was ridiculous. I'm like, how is the whole tribe not just like, and how did they not see them put it there? I mean, it had to have been, I guess, in the middle of the night at some point.
I guess the good thing Xander didn't find it. Though, to be fair, Brad found it, and he already had... Well, because I was going to say, is like, if you already have a Beware advantage, you saw like what it does to your game. If I found a Beware advantage by the bonfire...
I may not pick it up.
I would throw it back in the fire. I would just take it and throw it in.
But if you've already lost your vote, why not... Well, but then there'd be like a second...
Because what else could you...
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
What else
true.
can I lose?
What else could you lose? That's true.
The next time you get a hidden immunity idol, it's nullified. Like, who knows, man? It's just like... I see a Beware advantage, I would be like, don't care. Or I'd be like, production, you pick this up right now. Take it. Like, don't put this next to my fire. You go put it out in the woods on the walking path at waist height, like you always do. It got really ridiculous. So the 3 people who found these Beware advantages, Tiffany finds it at the Yas tribe, and my comment without even seeing it the other 2 tribes, I'm like, this is so obviously planted. Like, they're not pretending to hide these anymore. Why not just put it in the bag? Just put it in the bag of the person you want to go.
Or just be like, here, guys, we have a Beware advantage. First person to run up here and grab it.
Jeff walks into camp. Hey, everyone. They're like, Jeff, is my mother back home? Is she dying? No. Nothing like that. I just have an advantage in my hand that I want to hand to you. First person to come grab it, and then it'll be a mad rush. That would actually be just as interesting, if not more interesting, than...
Yeah.
Just like, if you want... I know they want them to find it. I just don't understand.
I don't know. It's a little strange.
I guess we should talk about what the Beware advantage is, and then we'll talk about, is there a way to improve doing this if they ever do it again in the future. This Beware advantage, do you remember what it was? What did it do?
They had to sneak out of camp and go to an island where they had to make a decision.
Which I'm guessing is Edge of Extinction Island, just based on the little information I could see from looking at it, but I could be wrong.
And if they didn't sneak out or didn't get onto the boat, they lose their vote. So it was way less of a risk than the previous one that we had seen.
Yeah, all you have to do is get on this boat.
Like, literally just sneak out of camp, get on a boat, and don't get caught. It didn't even really say don't get caught. It was just like, get on the boat.
But when you get to the island, what happens?
Yeah, when you get to the island, you had to choose basically kind of what they did before on the summit, but this time it was tarp or risk your vote.
Steal a vote.
Steal a vote. Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Steal a vote. So, if all 3 chose tarp, they would all 3 get tarp. If they all 3 chose steal a vote, they all 3 got nothing. Yeah. It had to be split. So
it's like the summit all over again in a way.
But with different choices at a different location. So I thought that was better. I thought that was good.
Yeah. I think there's just so much. Like, I like going chronologically, but there's just so much in this. Because the first 19, 20 minutes of this episode, it's just about this.
Yeah.
We don't get any camp life. We don't learn anything about anybody. Not that I want to hear any more sob stories, but we don't learn anything about anybody outside their sob stories. It's just like advantage. And long story short, Tiffany finds it. The other girls know. Xander doesn't know, I'm assuming. Who finds it? Brad finds it. He tells Chantel, which is, as he learns later, that's a mistake. As we've known for the past couple episodes.
And he tells her that, but then he also tells her that he has the other.
Yeah.
Beware
Because he
advantage,
found
which
the other
is the
one,
idol.
the same one that Xander had 30 minutes before.
Right.
Sorry for interrupting you.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. So what was Brad's phrase on the other Beware advantage? And yes, everyone, this is hard to keep up with. I am with you.
Yeah. That one was I realized that broccoli is just little trees.
Yeah, you did better than Brad did it. It was like, I now realize that broccoli is just a bunch of small trees.
Right. Basically.
Which is, and I may be changing a little bit, but it's better than whatever Brad said.
Probably just like, I look like broccoli.
He's like, I'm thin.
Broccoli.
and my hair. And Xander's like, I like what you said about broccoli.
That was funny.
Favorite line of the whole episode is Xander saying, I like what you said about broccoli. I know. This is like, it's just, it's gotten so out of hand. I can't even keep up anymore.
Yeah, basically advantage, immunity challenge, and tribal. That's pretty much all we got this episode.
Yeah, let's just get this whole Beware Island Exile Hut
I did like what JD said. I don't know if you're going to bring that up.
Oh, we will.
Okay.
I wanted to get the advantage stuff out of the way first.
Okay.
But yes, I'm with you. So basically, Tiffany, who the other girls find out that she goes, Sydney gets the Beware advantage. Nobody else in our tribe knows. And Brad gets the Beware advantage. And he tells Chantel, which in essence tells Ricard, because that's how those two work. Mm-hmm. So anyways, they all three go to the island. All three of them read the note saying you get to pick between these two. It's the same basic idea of the summit, just at night. And everybody didn't have to know. And basically, Tiffany and Sydney have a little tiff. Basically. Sydney's like, I don't trust Tiffany. Tiffany's like, I don't like Sydney's attitude.
Sydney was like, you don't want to risk your vote, right? Because you're down to 4 people or whatever. And she's like, well, I can risk it. I can do it if I want.
To be fair, Tiffany is right, because what they don't know, what Sydney and Brad don't know, is that Xander doesn't have... I mean, Brad should know because he knows Xander has the Beware advantage as well. But Xander can't vote because she's like, you don't want a 2-2 split, right? But she doesn't know that Xander can't vote.
Sure.
So at their tribe, it's a 3-0.
Right.
Yeah.
But
or
I feel like Tiffany was just giving away a lot of information with that statement, but also giving a lot of attitude that was unnecessary. She could have just been like, oh, you're right. Like, you don't have to say anything here. You can just be like, okay, I think I'm going to do this. All right, let's go vote.
Tiffany was like annoyed that they assumed that she'd want to keep her vote.
Right.
She should
basically, I can do what I want.
Whereas if JD been there, JD would have taken it in stride. That's one thing JD's got going for himself. He takes everything in stride. So basically Sydney and Tiff do not like each other. And if both of them make the merge, I wonder if that will come up again. Because just this little interaction, they did not like each other.
I feel like Tiffany's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way when she gets to the merge.
It's unfortunate that Brad doesn't make the merge because he doesn't seem really to rub anyone the wrong way as a person. They just strategically don't like him. But he doesn't rub anyone the wrong way. And he's
Not
so
that
much
we've
fun.
really seen. No.
Brad is the MVP of this episode.
I do like Brad a lot.
Yeah.
And it was fun. This was the Brad show.
Justice for Brad. So anyways, long story short, Brad gets the steal a vote. Sydney and Tiffany get nothing because they both chose TARP. And it's all for naught anyways. Brad can't vote because of his other Beware advantage that doesn't get activated. So we spent all this time on the Exile Hut for absolutely nothing to come of it. We did get the fun Brad making a dead body scene.
That's true.
And we did get Sydney and Tiffany fighting. But was it worth it? How much more could we have had camp life wise if we didn't have the Exile Hut this episode?
Yeah, they probably did focus on it too much since Brad did end up going home.
The first 20 minutes of this episode are about it.
Yeah, I didn't even really think about that. But you're right.
When I rewatched it, I was like, what? Holy cow.
I mean, maybe they just really want you to know how this works, and
I don't know.
They could have spent more time on it, I guess.
It's episode 3 and I'm already getting confused by how many events. I can't even recall. Like, I have to sit down and like think about who has what.
Do they do the thing at the bottom?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Where it says like cannot vote or has extra vote or whatever. But it's like, there's just, once they included another Beware advantage that has totally separate power, now we're getting confusing. Why couldn't they just call it something else, like the exile advantage or whatever, the hut advantage? I don't know. Anything different, because once you call it the same, it's just, now I'm getting confused. And I saw that a lot online. People were saying the same thing, so I feel like I'm not
agree.
alone.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. So I just wanted to get all the Exile Hut stuff out of the way, because honestly, it ends up being all for naught anyways. I feel like there's much bigger things to talk about this episode, despite it. So, let's circle back. So we're all the way back at the beginning before Brad found those 2 advantages. We're back at the Green Tribe when JD and Ricard and Chantel and Jeannie are all sitting on the beach and Brad's still sleeping and JD's pretending to be Reem and Woo.
Right, that's right. I forgot about that.
He's doing a pretty good impression of both.
He's imitating previous Survivor people.
Everyone's laughing.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. It was pretty funny. But okay, now let's go to the thing you were talking about.
So then it shows, of course, Brad finding the advantage, and then JD is looking everywhere for an idol, and he says, I wish everyone on the internet would stop saying idols are so easy to find, because they're really not, unless it's already been found. And then it cuts immediately to talking about how JD had already found it. But it was just
how Brad had already found it.
How Brad had already found it. But it was so funny because he's just like, he's looking, he's like digging in the ground and looking everywhere. And it's just like, no, man, it's not going to work like that this time.
But it's so funny because it's like almost like the show's like through JD is trying to say, look, they're not easy to find. But then we like cut to later to if you cut from that.
It's so easy to find.
Well,
I feel like they're just being ironic. I thought they were trying to make light of it and be like, no, they actually are easy to find. JD doesn't know what he's talking about, kind of thing.
Oh man, you think they would want to act like it's harder because he said shut up internet. So what we're saying then is the internet's correct, and I don't know if that's the show has ever said that.
That's what they're saying. I mean, what they're saying.
No, I agree with you. That's what they're saying. I'm saying I don't know if that's intentional.
I'm saying that's what CBS is saying. That's what the show is saying. Is hey guys, it's easy to find now. JD doesn't know what he's talking about.
I mean, Brad was showing the first Beware advantage to Chantel, and she was like, what? And then he pulled up the second one. She's like, where do you find these? He's like, they're falling out of the sky. And he's not wrong when he's playing right next to the stupid fire pit.
He's really
the bonfire pit.
The first one was kind of hard to find. I mean, it was still like eye level along the path.
It was still eye level on the walking path.
But it was definitely more difficult than the second one.
Yeah, anyone who's listening, if you get on Survivor, don't waste your time going anywhere but the walking path. You're almost guaranteed to find something. Like, if you're looking for something, just walk the walking path. Oh, this is at waist height. Oh, this is right where my eye level's at. Oh, Jeff doesn't have to bend over to hide this one. That's the areas you should look. It's not even a joke. Watch On to the Idols. Watch this season. I gotta double check Winners at War. I do think that Winners at War they may have been a little bit harder to find.
I would hope
but I'm talking about for newbie seasons. Edge of Extinction, I have to go back again. The thing is, like, they've just gotten so easy. Like, it's gotten ridiculous. It's like not even like, I don't know. It's out of hand is what it is.
Yeah, basically.
So I don't want to spend all episode, but it's out of hand. But okay, that's the Green Tribe. JD's cracking jokes, not finding idols. But the Blue Tribe, the very limited time we get the Blue Tribe again. I feel like we check in for like a minute with them every week. Do you remember what happened to the Blue Tribe? It
was once again Nasir's like on everyone's bad list. Nasir had talked to, who was it? I don't even remember.
He's talking to Sydney at night. Though they
Sydney,
cut between that and her talking to everybody.
Oh, that was a really funny scene because they cut to like what he says to Sydney, cut to Sydney telling everyone else on the beach. What he says to Sydney, cut to what Sydney's telling everyone on the beach. Night before, with Nasir in the background, by the way.
Yes, and Nasir's like, don't tell anyone what I'm telling you. She's like, oh, of course I won't. Cut to the next morning. Then Nasir said this. Nasir says he wants Danny to go. And then she's being a snitch. I told you, this is a season full of snitches. Yeah. Last week, Chantel and Evie were the snitches. This week, it's Sydney. When are the guys going to start snitching?
Well, there's always snitching happening in Survivor.
But this is like blatant.
But this, I don't know. It seems like really obvious. And I feel so bad for Nasir because it's like, first they hate him, then they love him, now they hate him again. And it's just like, man, this guy seems so fun.
What has Nasir done wrong?
I know.
That's my thought.
She just totally could have just been like, oh yeah, whatever you say, and then just move on. I mean, yes, she wants to put a target on him, and that makes sense strategically. So now everyone doesn't like him. She's basically ostracized him from everyone. So strategically, it makes sense. It's just kind of sad to me.
Yeah, I'm with you there because Nasir has shown nothing but being kind and hardworking to
I mean, he
us.
did snitch. Remember in the first episode, he
Nasir
did.
also snitched, so a guy has snitched.
Yeah.
That's right, 'cause he snitched on Danny and Deshaun
Right,
when they were doing
right.
the water thing, and he had no reason to go over there and see what they
Right.
were doing. He went way out of his way, and then he lied about it. So there is that.
Right.
So no one here is perfect, I guess.
Oh no.
Well, I mean,
No,
like
it was mainly just like the editing, and then like him sitting back at the shelter behind them and looking like a little
By himself.
puppy dog by himself.
While five
It
people
just
are
made
sitting
me
talking to each
sad.
other.
Yeah, exactly.
Why
All
isn't
the
Nasir-
whole rest of the group was sitting there talking.
that's the question. Why
Why
isn't
isn't he
Nasir
out
going
there?
down there and integrate? Maybe this is why they think
Yeah.
he's weird, because he's by himself, and the
It's true.
rest of them are like, they're not even like out doing it. They're just sitting and chilling. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're working, and it's like, oh, it's this. Yeah, I mean, it's like we're only seeing like a minute from like 2 days because we got
true.
so much advantage time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's Nasir, obviously Sydney, Danny, Deshaun.
Erica and Heather.
See, I have no idea who they
I
are.
could tell you
couldn't
all
remember
18
them.
people, but it's only because it's my
I'm
job.
sure you could. Yeah.
But if I was a casual viewer, I agree with you. I wouldn't remember Erica or
Right.
Heather. And you've been
No
watching
idea.
every week and talking about it.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Okay, so something I did notice. Sorry, this is an earlier note. So let's go back to the Green Camp. For those of you who watch the episode or can rewatch at least, look at the shelter for the Green Tribe. I don't think there's any roof. I think they have this
Really?
it's so hard to tell because it's like we barely see it. We barely spend any time on this camp life, so it's hard for me to tell. But from the shots I could see, they have like just bamboo leaned up against a tree. Like they don't have like a roof. Has it rained at all? I don't think so. It's crazy how much slacking it looks like has happened with that shelter.
Right.
And I wonder if that's a result of the no food. But who really knows?
Right.
Besides those who were there.
That is interesting. I did notice that one night, is Brad on the Green Tribe?
Brad was on the Green
Sorry,
Tribe.
it was. That one night that Brad sneaked off, they were all sleeping on the beach, which isn't a big deal because I know sometimes they do that. But it does make me wonder if maybe their shelter just
What's
sucks.
unusual is these odd number seasons are usually the seasons that have the worst weather because that's usually the worst weather for Fiji is during those months. Like 33 and 37 both had to evacuate due to like a hurricane typhoon thing. But then like I heard from 35, like there's a ton of rain stuff, but then people on 36 were like, oh, there like rain maybe for like half a night once.
Wow.
So I mean that was a few years ago, sure, but it's the same place and weather. It's only been a couple of years, like so they've had it really easy so far,
Right.
weather wise.
Right. Well, that's good. 'Cause
So I'm wondering if that's why they're just sleeping on the beach and there's no roof on their camp. So I could be wrong about the roof, but double check me, everyone. Like, go take a look. Like for real. Like when I see Brad, they're sleeping and he wakes up and he's working. Like I don't see a shelter.
could be
in the
right.
way
I didn't
we-
notice.
I've not seen a shelter the way we're used to, where it's like the V-shaped thing, the side. I don't know, a
Right.
side V. I don't know
Like
what
a
you call
lean-to.
it. Like whatever it's actually called. Okay, so let's see. We already talked about the exile hut, Brad making the fake body, and then rolling over like a little kid sneaking away was funny. I think it's interesting to know that Brad, when he found that beware advantage, he was with Jeannie, and now we know, well, not that it matters anymore, but at the time we knew they were close together, which we could have assumed, but we didn't really know.
Yeah.
But now we know Jeannie's on the outs of the Green Tribe,
Right.
for sure, which explains a lot of why we haven't seen a lot of her. Because she's probably on the hit list.
Probably.
Especially if you know who we consider for winners here. Okay, so let's go to Tribal Council because everything else is advantage gotten before that.
We didn't talk about immunity at all.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, not tribal. I meant the immunity challenge.
Oh, okay.
Where they get where they get the immunity idol to not go to tribal. Yeah, I'm dumb. So yes, we're at the immunity challenge. What happens, Barry?
I mean, Brad marvelously messes up his line. And then Xander has to say his line again, which I guess I didn't realize.
Because it wasn't clarified last week.
Maybe it was and we just missed it.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
I
You
watched.
checked. Okay.
You had to like freeze frame on the note and then read the note, and it was like,
Yeah, I was
Maybe,
like,
yeah.
okay, so now it should be obvious to everyone that something's going on here. And so, yeah, but that, it was just so weird. It's just so awkward. Like, I feel like the first time is okay because it's a random saying, but then you have to say the exact same thing that you already said again in response, and it's just whatever.
my question is, what happens if you don't say the phrase? You've already lost your vote. What do you have to lose?
I mean, you're hoping that the other person says the third phrase and you get all the idols.
Let's say I'm Xander, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to be in Xander's shoes. Brad just said his phrase terribly, but I guess he got enough across. I guess it would have worked. Maybe they would have let it pass. Okay. I'm not saying a word because the blue tribe hasn't spoken up yet. I think Xander's probably just excited somebody finally said something.
Probably. And immediately after Brad said it, Jeff turned to Xander and said, so Xander, what do you think about that? Basically, like giving him the opportunity to respond. So I feel like he felt like he had to say it. I
feel like they have so much time to sit there and think on the island that I would have been like, if the other two tribes don't say it, I'm not saying this again. This is rude. I'm not like, this is so obvious because the second time he says it, Jeff just goes, wow, again. Now, let's keep in mind, if this was seasons 1 through 40, if somebody said this phrase at at the immunity challenge, Jeff would not just say, wow. He would be asking questions.
Are you okay?
What the crap are you talking about? Why have you said this twice?
Do you need medical?
Yeah, do we need to have medical come take a look at you? But Jeff's reaction, like, if people aren't getting what's happening here, that something's up, not that they have to know what, but something's up, then they're not paying attention because Jeff asking Xander saying the same thing from last time that was already weird the first time, but at least it was funny.
Right.
And then just saying wow again is like, hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Something's going on here. So then the big question is, with Brad voted out, is Xander just kind of screwed till the merge now?
That's what I want to know. I don't understand how it's supposed to work.
There's just so many advantages. I can't keep up with all the rules.
Well, I don't know the rules. I don't know if they ever said if you get voted out, make sure you give this to somebody else on your tribe.
Imagine if you're on the blue tribe right now and all these things are happening on the green and yellow and there's craziness, and on the blue tribe they're like, I guess there's nothing going on except for, of course, Cindy going, except for the summits.
Right.
But like beware event, like all that to the blue tribe is just like they're ignorant of it right now.
I guess
ignorance is bliss for them.
I guess.
And I think with beware, in my opinion, ignorance is bliss. Just for the rest of time. Like, I don't want to know. I don't even want to know.
I want the three-way idol to become a thing. I feel like that should happen. Otherwise, what's all this for?
They did that in Co Wrong. Remember when they had, not three-way, but it was like, okay, Ty had an idol and Scott had an idol. Yeah. And they were idols, but if they combined them, they became a super idol. Mm-hmm. And had they played that, you could play after the vote. But my point is that, like, that was actually a cool idea they haven't really done since. I would actually rather have that here. Like, if all three of you find your idols, like, they're all super idols. Instead of, like, this whole, they don't even become, I don't know. There's, like, it's so much punishment. And there's just so much, like, dependency on other players. And I don't know. It takes away from the social aspect. Because they can't socially, it's not like socially convince these other players to find their beware advantage or... I don't know.
And I was really expecting somebody from the blue tribe at least to be looking because
they could be, but we never spend any time there.
Last week, Evie told Danny, right?
Yes.
About them and basically where to find them.
Yes.
And nope, nothing.
We didn't see any aftermath. We didn't hear from Evie at all, which we didn't need to because she got the information out there. We didn't hear from the blue tribe at all. He didn't come back. We didn't hear why Danny didn't tell anybody, or if he did tell anybody, or what happened if he did, or did he look by himself? Nothing, because we're spending so much time on advantages that has nothing. Like, it ends up not affecting the episode at all.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of filler, and it's so frustrating. This is why I think Survivor, first off, I think they need to get their act together in terms of advantages. But let's say they don't, which it seems like that's the path. 90-minute episodes, flat out. We need 90-minute episodes because we at least would have 20 more minutes. And in those 20 other minutes, we could actually get camp life. But who knows? Maybe there's film with more advantages. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who really knows?
I'd be down with that.
I'm just like, yeah, I would agree with you. Like, we in like older seasons, by older I just mean like pre-34, something like this happens, like Evie telling somebody, and like the next episode we'd hear the aftermath of it, like, because that's an important, it's important. Even if nothing comes of it, at least whether he tells people or not tells people, I feel like is important to know about him as a person and how he plays. So it's just so frustrating. This is probably the most frustrating episode of the three. Not annoying, frustrating. So if I sound frustrated, that's why. Also, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. I'm done. I quit. No. All right. So we're at the immunity challenge. We keep meandering around the immunity challenge. But yes, there was an immunity challenge. You want a long story short? It's
not as important, it feels like.
Yeah.
There was an immunity challenge. And
it did take up 10 minutes of the episode.
Yellow Tribe won.
Yeah.
Finally, which
I
is
think.
good.
It's like 8 or 9 minutes at least. But yeah, I was like, Yellow Tribe won, Blue Tribe won. Blue Tribe just can't
Always
lose
wins.
unless it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Apparently. Yeah, Blue Tribe wins, Yellow Tribe wins. Xander saved the day. How'd they vote out Xander? And Foche was there. Would y'all have
True.
lost again?
I have no idea, but it's possible.
Had Yellow Tribe voted out Tiffany, would they have won earlier? Yes. Because Tiffany once again was shown to be
For sure.
oh, Jeff's like, 3.5 on your landing in the water. And I'm like, Jeff's even dissing on Tiffany because it's out of 10 in case you're wondering what the scoring chart was. He's doing an Olympic thing, an Olympic joke, I think. But he's like doing a joke, but also like is like encouraging her. It's weird.
Hey, I feel like he's been more discouraging.
Tiffany?
I mean, he's no, just in general. Come on, you guys. Or like, I know he always says stuff like that. Not come on, you guys. Whatever.
Yeah. No, he doesn't say guys.
I felt like he's been more
that's the player's job.
ribbing or I don't know during challenges. Like it feels like he's been more. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
This
it's
is
the
about par
same.
for the course.
I don't know.
Just my opinion.
Something just feels slightly off, I guess. But maybe it's just the whole
Jeff's
thing.
long hair is taking over his
Yes.
soul.
And his hoarse voice. Like he's been hoarse the past two
that's
episodes.
true.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the last episode. It was this one too.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
Yeah, because I remember in Palau when he had the hoarse voice, and I don't think we even really talked about it last week, or if we did, it wasn't very long. But in Palau, he had the same thing, but he's like, sorry about this voice. But by the next episode, he was good.
He was fine, yeah.
So then again, he was like 15 years younger then.
True.
So things take longer to recover the older you get. I would know. I'm getting older every day, unlike the rest of you who are only getting younger. So yeah, Yellow and Blue wins. Xander and Brad do not have an idol because the Blue Tribe still doesn't have the everywhere advantage, in case you didn't tell from all of our ranting and rambling about how there's no camp life at Blue. So yeah, it's like Love Who can't lose on accident, I guess, but on purpose they could. But anyways, all right. So we are at the green camp now, and JD goes off to go to the bathroom. What happens?
He comes back from the bathroom and he has the advantage just like sticking in his shorts. And Chantel's like, what's that? And so he tells her. And so then Chantel's like all brokenhearted that he broke her trust, which I don't get.
She takes it really hard.
It was like so personal. And I'm just like, this is Survivor. Would you have told him
It's
if
only
you found
episode
it?
3.
Yeah, I didn't really get it. And it wasn't even like her closest. Like Brad tells her everything. Probably Ricard would tell her everything.
Yeah.
And I think she tells them.
Oh, I don't
But
think Ricard would tell her everything, actually.
Not that we've seen.
Yeah.
But
I don't
he's
think he would.
definitely, I feel like he's just open with her about his strategy and
Sure.
what he wants to do and yada yada. I don't think JD and Chantel I mean, from what we've seen, I guess.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they're that as tight as what Brad and Chantel or Ricard
I
and
think
Chantel
with
are.
Brad and Chantel, it's like Brad thinks he's closer to Chantel than he really is, because
Obviously.
she's totally just playing him.
Yes.
And funny enough, in the next time on Survivor, we see JD get mad at Chantel for saying, she totally played me, because I can't imagine he's talking about Jeannie, and unless Ricard has adopted the pronoun of she, he's talking about Chantel.
Yeah.
So Chantel played him, yes.
Well, yeah, because
she
he
does.
comes back with the advantage. They have this whole conversation. And I think JD did bring up about how he would give it to her to hold on to him. And Chantel's
Well, she
like,
took it from his hand.
yeah, okay, I'll take it. You know, which is...
She's like, you'll get this back
But
when you're
yeah,
done being grounded.
JD literally says, like, Chantel's like, why didn't you tell me? And JD's like, this is Survivor. You don't tell people stuff. Like, hello.
101.
101. And he's right. And
Well, okay, but all right, but we kind of skimmed over how she even found this, because he goes to the bathroom. Well, hold on, I'm getting there. I'm with you. Hang on. He goes to the bathroom with his shirt on. He comes back with his shirt off, and because his shirt is off, that's how she sees it. Because he probably didn't even think about it. Because at first I thought maybe he did this on purpose.
well, it looked like it because it was so obvious.
But it's like it's just been sitting there this whole time. But because his shirt was on,
Yeah.
nobody saw it. But he took off his shirt for the bathroom. Must have had that was a rough bathroom trip. Then that's how she found out. So yeah, she like totally takes offense. But I mean, they're both right.
I guess I feel like JD is more in the right, but he just made a mistake by not having your shirt on. Anyways, it was kind of weird to me. But here's another editing thing that I thought was interesting is when JD's telling his side of the story, there's like this kind of quirky carnival
Goofy,
type
dumb
music.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Behind him. And then when Chantel is telling her part of the story, is this like emotional, dramatic
Mm-hmm.
music, making her seem serious. And him, again, they're always trying to paint him like he doesn't really know what he's doing.
Because he's not going to win.
Or he's goofy. I know, that's what I'm saying.
He's not going to win.
Even though he is really smart, he is good at relationships, and he is very strategic.
He's just 20.
He's young. Yeah,
That's
sure.
really his flaw. He's 20.
But I just thought that was interesting. I want to make sure we mentioned it. Because, it was just strange. Like, he definitely had a reason for keeping it hidden from his alliance.
But at the same time, you could argue that Chantel, the reason that she's upset is because in her mind, her, JD, and Ricard are probably like this tight three.
Yeah.
And they should be sharing... Like, I'm guessing what she's implying is that if she had found it, she would have shared it with JD and Ricard. Or at least with JD in this one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
And
that's what she says.
So if we see later in the season her get an advantage and not tell anyone, it's going to be, the pot calling the kettle black here.
Yeah, but then she's going to be like, well, I didn't know if I could trust you because you broke my trust.
No, I don't mean me with JD. I just mean with anybody. I mean, if Ricard's still in the game later.
Sure.
That's what I mean. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out because next time on Survivor totally makes us think, whether it's accurate or not, that she played him and he's mad about it now.
Yeah.
And 101 is to keep all the information you can to yourself. 102 is don't give anyone else your advantage.
Yeah.
This is not Stephen Fishback and Tocantins. He's not going to end up making the right decision at the end and be nice to you. They're going to hold on to it and keep it. It's more like a Boston Rob thing. He doesn't know she's the mafia pastor. The Rob father took an advantage of somebody. He's not giving it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's not. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But
yeah,
he seemed kind of upset in that preview. So
he seems very upset.
Well, they made sure that they did the quote where he's like, "This is either the most brilliant plan in history or it's like the stupidest move in history." And it always ends up being the stupid move. Like when they throw that out there, it's always not a good. It's not going to be the greatest move in Survivor. Even earlier in the episode,
Brad was like, I like doing high risk, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And like we saw how that paid off. And JD did say when he gave her the advantage, I think what he said was closer to something along the lines of, I'm trying to think how you said it. Basically that he's here to make big moves, just like Leon all said. I'm here to make big moves. People who say that, by the way, always lose. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember any of the winners who've ever said, I'm not here to make big moves. No, I'm here to win. I don't care how. But I'm here to make big moves and be a big game player. And you got to make risky moves like this. And it's like, do you have to?
Yeah.
Was this a need?
You really don't.
It really wasn't. You could have aligned yourself with Brad and Jeannie and been up 3-2 over these other two.
It's true.
With your steal or your extra vote. And there's no way those two could have stopped you three. So he didn't need to give Chantel anything. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he had his whole emotional talk at Tribal about trust and how it was like crystals and you drop the crystals. And
Chantel's like, once you drop the crystal, it doesn't look the same when it's put back together. That's just talking about trust. I also thought it was interesting when JD started his speech to the rest of his tribe. He said, guys.
I'm sure he did.
Looking right at Ricard, and I'm like, you know better than this, JD. I haven't really been paying attention to it since the whole conversation episode 1, but it was so blatant in the moment. I'm like, I'm actually really surprised they haven't edited this out, but it happened.
I feel like it's more like whatever the players are saying is not, it's like, what is CBS's position on this? Because if Jeff says it, that's basically that's the like spokesperson. Yeah. So
I see. Okay.
That's why it's a big deal.
I gotcha. Okay, so we're at Tribal. Basically, we're going into Tribal with the knowledge that it's going to be a 3-2 vote on Brad. I mean, we can pretend otherwise. Like, Chantel's like, I'm debating between Brad and JD, but like, all 3 episodes, we've seen her be close to JD and playing Brad.
Yeah.
Every time Brad does anything nice to Chantel, which is everything Ira does to Chantel, she throws him under the bus immediately to Ricard.
Which is unfortunate because I really thought he was fun to watch.
Brad did nothing.
Yeah.
He misread the situation, but Brad did nothing wrong, like, morality-wise. Like, he was just nice to everyone all the time, which is how do you not like Brad? So, anyways, so we're at Tribal Council. Chantel... before Tribal Council, this actually is going to be a big part of our one of our later segments, but we got to mention it. Chantel gives a very sad backstory about her parents' divorce. Now she had to pick between her two parents.
Oh yeah.
But it's all tied into her strategic thoughts on who to vote with. Mm-hmm. Like she's like, picking between my two parents is just like now picking between Brad and JD. I feel like it's a little different, but apparently it's similar enough to tie it in here. So that's the kind of content you're looking for. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. That's the stuff you're looking for. Strategic thoughts and personal content in the same, like, oh, oof. All right. So we're at Tribal Council, and I really actually didn't have any votes for Tribal Council. Do you have any notes for Tribal Council besides the crystal thing?
Not really.
Okay. Why does Brad nor JD nor anyone use their shot in the dark here? Because that has nothing to do with your beware advantage.
That's true. I wondered that. I feel like it's just because Brad felt comfortable. Yeah. He felt safe. And so did JD.
Good on Chantel and Ricard to make Brad feel like he didn't need to play a shot in the dark. Mm-hmm. Will anyone ever play their shot in the dark?
I hope so.
I bet you the last tribal that you could play it, everyone's just like, screw it, I'll play it. Everyone just drops their dice. Like no one played it the whole season.
But I may be misremembering this, but if you play your shot in the dark, do you still get to vote?
Oh, I'm trying to recall. I think it's you play your shot in the dark, you get, and it works. You get the idol, or you get basically your null. You know, you can't be voted out. But if it doesn't work, you lose your vote. That tribal. I think it's why everyone hasn't just been playing it.
Right. That's why JD said when he wrote down Brad's name, this is better, like a better chance than my 1 in 6 shot in the dark.
Let's think about this. Why didn't Brad do it? He couldn't vote anyways. Am I missing something? Is there a rule I didn't catch?
Could be. I mean, we really think you can only do it once.
Okay, but Brad can't vote anyways. I mean,
but he thinks he's safe.
So let's think then. Okay, I'm Brad, right? Even if I think I have the majority, who do I think the other people are voting for?
JD.
Supposedly. No, I mean, okay, he's voting for JD, but who's JD voting for? That's what I mean. Who does he think their target is? I don't know. I feel like it's just one of those things, like the sooner you get out of your hand, the better. Like I almost feel like advantages sitting in your pocket, dicing in your pocket is like a weight. You just get rid of it. I'd rather play this whole season straight with no advantages in my pocket at all, like regular voting, just socially integrate, then try to like balance all these advantages and dice and stuff. Like Tommy did it in 39. Everyone's played with all these advantages. Tommy just won the normal way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that's the only way to do it, but I feel like me personally, I'd be like, this is a lot. I've even heard Stephen Fishback. I remember him talking about Cambodia where he had an extra vote. He's like, I should have played that thing immediately. I shouldn't have held on to it. Because the more you hold on to it, the more it sits in your brain and you're sat camp thinking about it. And you get the stuff out of your...
It's a good point.
You get it out, it's like you got money to burn. Just burn it and get it out of your pocket. Because if you have it in your pocket, you're thinking, okay, what can I do?
Okay, not really. This is not financial advice.
Yeah, it's not financial advice. But it's almost like the same thing. Like you just need to get rid of it because you got 30 things now you're thinking about. Whereas if you didn't have this stuff in your pocket, it's so much more simpler. Who cares? Let everyone else get their stupid beware advantages. Unless you find a straight up idol. I feel like it's the only time where it's like, all right, I have an idol. I'll play if I feel like I'm in danger. Like totally. I'm with you. But if you don't even have a vote to lose, like, I don't know. Just play your stupid shot in the dark. It's only a 1 in 6 anyways. Are you ever going to feel safe playing the thing? I'm never going to feel safe playing it. But now's the time when I can't vote anyways.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could be misreading it. Maybe you're not allowed to with the beware. I don't know. It's just so many rules.
No idea. Okay,
well, that's enough complaining. First 2 episodes, I feel like we didn't complain. I didn't complain as much, but man, this episode really, I guess, got me. Next time so something I did want to note before we moved on to the Rebus section of our podcast. No one talked to the camera this episode.
Are you sure?
I'm trying to recall. Jeff didn't talk to us when we watched in Tribal, did we? I thought we saw the Rebus
Not
puzzle.
at Tribal, but I'm pretty sure I remember him talking to... I know they're going to prove me wrong. Someone will, I'm sure.
People who are listening, just know that we're remembering that it never happened. But if it did, please don't eviscerate us. We're just... I watched it twice and I don't remember anybody talking to us.
You're probably right. Because I only watched it once.
There was no slow motion. And we never saw the camera crew. We have moved... In a matter of 2 episodes, we've moved almost to normalcy in terms of production of Survivor.
Interesting.
First episode, there's so much slow-mo. Like, they're like, how can we fill the time? Second episode, I think they did like the one slow-mo shot on Danny when he was walking on the summit. And I'm sorry, on Deshaun when he's walking the summit. And then they did a slow-mo shot on Tiffany when she's on the balance beam. But then this episode, I'm surprised. I was actually waiting for the slow-mo shot on Tiffany doing the the ropes because it would be an inspirational moment. But yeah, I just want to point out those 3 things didn't happen. No showing camera crew, no slow-mo, no talking to us. So I wonder if that that was just a 2-episode thing. I don't know. Yeah, I know all the different things that try to like hype up the first episode just hasn't panned out. All right, so let's move on to the Rebus section of our podcast. For the Rebus Puzzle this week, Mary, what do we got?
So the Rebus Puzzle this week was Don't Rock the Boat, basically.
Yeah, but what's the image we're looking at?
The image was a rock and a boat.
Yep.
And a, like the no smoking sign kind of over it.
The big old no sign.
Yeah. And the only thing that confused me was there was a big G and a little G over to the right hand.
Yeah.
I can't say corner because it's a circle, but on the right hand side. And so for a second, I'm like, don't rock the boat G. I don't like.
There was 2 G's or 1 G?
There's a big G and a small G.
I'm going to look. Maybe it stands for the game within the game because the Survivor GWG.
I'm so dumb.
You're not dumb.
Yes, that's what it stands for.
Oh, okay.
I guess I just didn't notice it on any of the other Rebus puzzles. And so I'm like, don't rock the boat GG. But obviously it was just don't
I'm pulling up the image now because
that makes sense.
I'm saying that sounds like it should be right, but who?
No, that's so obvious. Yeah, it's game within the game.
Okay, well.
Because the little G was kind of like inside the big G.
I know all last night you were sleeping and thinking about that. You're like, what does this G's mean?
No, I wasn't.
And when you're at work today, you're just like feverishly writing it down on a piece of paper.
Like redrawing it 20 times.
You're like, I know you've never seen It's Always Sunny, but you're like Charlie Day and It's Always Sunny, like with the board and the conspiracy theories. And anyway, it's all connected. Okay, so that's it for the Rebus puzzle.
Yep, pretty simple.
Oh, and did Jeff give any hints as to next week's episode with when you solve the Rebus puzzle, like you did last week?
Yes. So again, this week it was, imagine you are in a strong tribe and you decide, or some people in the tribe are talking about throwing the challenge. What would you do it and why would you do it? So he was bringing up the reasons to throw a challenge and why it might be good for your tribe or not good.
Which was interesting because when you solved it and you watched that video and you told me, the episode was still airing because you solved it during the episode, obviously. So we hadn't seen the next week on Survivor, which I guess we kind of skimmed over. It sounds like next week, Blue Tribe's throwing immunity and
is wanting to throw
immunity. And if they do Nasir, it's for Nasir because obviously through 3 episodes, we've seen Nasir's on the outs.
Yeah.
Remember Nasir in the first episode said, let's be the final 4. And I said, that was a big want moment.
Yeah.
Yep. Here we are going to episode 4. And it sounds like, yeah, it was a big want moment.
True.
Okay. Let's move into the winner analysis section of our podcast. Before I even get into who I think are the potential winners, do you have anyone you're on board with? It doesn't have to change at all. Or if it did change, great.
No, it hasn't changed.
Who is your number 1 to win this season?
Chantel.
Okay, what about Xander? I know you used to be really high on him.
I still think that Xander is up there. We didn't hear from him at all, except the "I like your broccoli" comment or whatever he said.
I like how you talked about broccoli.
I like how you talked about broccoli. Yeah.
No, Yellow
I
was
still
almost...
think he has potential. Obviously, Chantel. I know you still think Ricard.
Oh
I
no,
don't know.
Yeah. Don't worry about. I was just seeing what you had.
Well, that's all I have because again, I don't know who on Blue would be a possibility.
For you, it's Chantel and Xander, basically your top 2. Okay. I have 4 people, and I'm timid on the 5th. But I do want to say, last week I know I talked about how Tiffany. I feel like she's going far. After this episode, I'm like, if I was a betting man, I'd bet Tiffany's going far. She gets so much content. It's not positive content, but she's getting a lot of it. And it's not just because she got the advantage this week. Like, it's just like she gets the advantage and we hear from her. We actually didn't hear from Evie, which is who I would have expected to hear from when she told them, because that's first 2 episodes who we heard from constantly about everything. But no, we actually did hear from Tiffany what she thought, which was interesting. So I don't think she's winning. I just think she's going far. So I'm going to go from top to bottom. Here's my top 4. And then my 5th one, I said I'm timid about. So Chantel, number 1. I'm ranking them now. Chantel's number 1 by a mile. If she's the winner, it's so obvious. Here we are in episode 3. And if we nail it, it's gotten more obvious than before. I don't think I had Tony nailed until right before the merge of Winners at War, where it was like episode 6 or 7. I was like, I think Tony's got it. But this season, if it's Chantel, here I'm calling episode 3. Like, it's so obvious. But maybe it's a fake obvious one.
Could be a fake out.
But the edit has just been so, like, everything's about Chantel and the Green Tribe, and it's like personal and strategic content all the time from her. It's not like one-sided. Like Xander, for example, it's been a lot strategic, but I don't know anything about Xander as a person.
True.
So, number 2 is Ricard. His is a little bit more quiet, but every time we hear from him, it's definitely what he thinks strategically, and he's in with Chantel, which helps in my opinion. If he was with Brad and Jeannie, probably wouldn't even have him in my contention for winners. But he's number 2. But there is a significant gap between 1 and 2. Number 3 is Evie, though we didn't hear from her this week. To be fair, there was so many other things happening. She didn't have a chance, but she had so much time the first 2 episodes. I'm not worried about it. Mm-hmm. But Evie's had the personal and strategic content, a lot more strategic from her. And then Xander's my number 4. He's had a lot of strategic content, almost nothing of personal content. But his has just been so overwhelming, and how much he's leaned into the theme. It's like these 4, I'd almost guarantee make the merge. And if anyone went before the merge, I'd be shocked.
Right.
Like I would be. I'd be like, any of them got voted out next week or in next 2 weeks, I'd be blown away. So then the timid one, do you have take a guess who you think this person has moved onto my list for the first time? They've never been there before. And I'm not saying that they're going to win. I'm just saying I'm now looking at them closer next week.
JD?
They're on the Blue Tribe.
Oh, Blue Tribe.
Yep.
Sydney?
Yep, Sydney.
Just because she got content today?
Well, last week and this week, she has gotten so much, and she's like the mouthpiece of the Blue Tribe. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell if she's mouthpiece because she's going to go first, kind of like when Sarah dissed on Brad, but Sarah went anyways. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Brad eventually did go, obviously. But yeah, I don't know if Sydney's going because she keeps being the one who's mouthpiece dissing on Nasir. Mm-hmm. So is Sydney going next week, or is Nasir going? And actually, it's all going to depend on what happens next week, because if Nasir goes, I think Sydney could be a contender. I'm not 100% certain on that, but if she goes, obviously not if she gets voted out.
I just feel like she's the mouthpiece of the Blue Tribe right now because she got to go to Summit. So it was kind of
But even last week, she was the mouthpiece when she was talking about Nasir.
Sure, but then it ties into what happened this week.
Yeah.
And they're probably, well, let's hear what from Sydney, because we're going to hear from Sydney next week, and she's going to go to Summit. And we can only focus on one person because we never see the Blue Tribe.
Sure,
so
sure.
I don't know. That was my opinion. I don't see any winner.
Yeah.
From
and
her.
I'm with you. Maybe she falls in the Tiffany category of like she's going far, but she's not going to win. But
maybe.
To be fair, week 1, I think I said Voce was my timid pick, and look what happened.
That's
so
true.
maybe my timid pick is whoever's about to go next. And
That's probably more
and I'll learn my lesson.
accurate.
All right, let's move on to the questions part of our podcast. I'm not going to, I have like 30 something here, but we're just going to hit the top ones. So JL13 asks, how will the 3-way idol play, meaning the Beware advantage that Brad and Xander found, how will it play out since Brad is gone? He can't talk about the broccoli. So unless someone finds the clue at the Blue Tribe, if they, there's some spelling errors here, but grammar is whatever. So basically, is Xander totally screwed? And if somebody at the Blue Tribes finds it, are they also totally screwed till the merge?
That's what I want to know also.
I would love to know, JL13. My guess is that if anyone has this, they're screwed until it expires. I don't think it's like, oh, and if somebody gets voted out, then you're good. I don't remember that part.
I don't know.
Yeah, with all time spent advantages, you think they would clarify things that are going to come up.
Yeah. But
no, kind of in the dark, having a freeze frame on stuff to read it. Okay, Bad Luck Boy 69 asks, is the Beware Island twist really going to majorly affect the game, and will the Shot in the Dark do so? I think the question here is the Beware Island twist. We already know that Brad's voted out, so maybe between Chantel and Tiffany, that part, because Brad's gone.
Why Chantel and Tiffany?
Sorry, not Chantel. I meant Sydney and Tiffany.
Oh, yeah. Maybe, but yeah, otherwise it kind of seems like a waste of time. Except knowing that Brad goes home with an advantage in his pocket. But.
Yeah. I mean, as I was saying earlier, I feel like almost the island ended up being completely worthless, and I almost wish they'd cut down how much time we spent on any of it, because and I'm sure they did, obviously, but I almost wish we had cut down more time, because it ends up being all for naught at the end of the day. Unless, of course, there's a Tiffany-Sydney war at the merge. Then this would be a good Genesis story of that. Underdog Survivor asked, do you think there was anything Brad could have done to save himself?
The shot in the dark.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing. But no, I just don't think he knew what was coming.
Because even if he could vote, he needed then to convince two people he would need to convince two people to vote for JD. He needed everyone to vote for JD. Right?
No, I need Jeannie and Chantel to vote for JD.
That'd have been 2-2 split, though. Ricard would vote
Oh,
JD.
yeah, because Brad didn't have vote.
Because without his vote, it's
he'd need everyone to vote for JD.
He would have to have some real social pull, and Brad had none. So he would, I mean, if you're talking about what could he done to save himself in this episode, play a shot dark. From the beginning, I don't know, get in tight with Chantel and Ricard, which he clearly was trying to do with Chantel. But then he was like spying on Ricard and like they're together. So yeah. Let's see who the next one is. So Sarah D asks, why didn't Chantel vote out JD and keep his extra vote? Going really dark, I guess. Or are the extra votes non-transferable? If they are transferable, do you think keeping JD was a stupid move?
I think she was going with trust because she does trust JD more than Brad.
Yeah.
And she feels like she has, I don't want to say more control over JD, but maybe just a better relationship. She obviously didn't really care about her relationship with Brad or put much stock into it because everything he said she would repeat to others. So I feel like this was just more of a trust vote than a, strategic vote.
I agree. And I think JD even talked about this kind of at Tribal, where he said, sure, you get rid of me now. It's like scratching that itch on your leg, but it's not going to like solve any long-term problems. It'll just feel good in the moment. Long story short of what he said, essentially.
Right, I remember that, and I really didn't get what he was trying to say.
I think now
I don't know how keeping him was going to be.
Because when we heard it, I think when we heard it, we didn't know where it was connecting. But now that Brad's gone, I feel like JD was talking about if you scratch it, it's like getting rid of JD, and because they were talking about the trust crystal. I almost said trust crystal thing. He's talking about the itch, and I figure that's what it had to be about.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm just saying I don't really know how keeping him around is going to, he's like, this is going to be better for the tribe overall. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't
well, if the tribe is whoever's in JD's court, then yeah, I guess.
Sure.
If the tribe is Chantel and her minions. All right. Entertainer Ev says, should JD work on his layups? Yes.
Probably.
When I rewatched the challenge today, I was like, oh man, JD took over and it was bad.
Well, it's not basketball. Like you can't make a layup.
He was trying to like, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah. He's like trying to lay, like I'm over here physically doing the movement. And you can't see me, but he's like he's not like doing it like everyone else did where they're like tossing it up. He's like trying to like jump and I don't know. He's like, it definitely looks like a basketball move.
Yeah. He's trying to make a basketball move and it's not basketball.
Yeah. Mitchell Barnes wants to know, do you think everyone that went to Beware Island, I guess that's the name for it now, Beware Island instead of Exile Hut, made the correct choice this episode?
Well, I would say Brad did, except that he still got voted out. So I don't know.
I guess the question's more so on Sydney and Tiffany, because it sounded like originally Sydney was going to go for the steal vote, but because she thought Tiffany was going to
go for the steal vote,
she didn't do it. So did those two make the right decision on what they chose?
I think Tiffany did because even if Xander can't vote, you're still down, to a 4-person tribe. That's just risky to me. And yeah, as far as Sydney, like you just have to go with your gut sometimes. And her gut said, don't trust Tiffany. She's probably right in that, but it would have worked out for her if she had, because she didn't know about Brad. But I think overall, I probably would have done very similar things if I'd been in their shoes.
I'm with you on that. I think if with the information Tiffany had, she made the right call, which is what you're saying. From an eagle eyes perspective, like looking at everything everything we know at least, Tiffany should have done the steal vote, not Sydney. Tiffany should have done the steal vote because
Xander can't vote. Exactly.
And that vote, like now it's like, okay, let's say the other two women now want to turn Tiffany and Xander can't vote. Well, Tiffany single-handedly can make it a 2-2 split by herself.
Right.
So Sydney didn't need to. She's in a tribe of 6 people and hasn't gone to tribal council yet. And the steal vote is just like a nice to have, not a need to have at the moment. Like that extra vote ain't going to save her life. Or steal a vote ain't going to save her life. Oh, sorry, it's a steal vote, not an extra vote. So Tiffany stealing vote, would be 2-1 Tiffany's favor if she stole a vote. Sydney's stealing vote maybe. We don't know. We just don't know.
Right.
We just know Nasir's on the out. So as far as I'm aware, it's 5-1 at the moment, and Sydney's on the right side of the number. So, yeah, I mean, the right decision. Eagle eye perspective, no. From Tiffany, all information Tiffany and Sydney had, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Oh, I accidentally somehow backed out of all the questions I had. That's not good. Pulling them back up now. Don't keep this in the episode, Wesley. I probably will, knowing me. And now my phone wants me to draw patterns. What is going on? All right, back to the questions. Yes. Okay. A lot of these are kind of covering things we already talked about, like thoughts on all the new advantages. Kind of talked about that. Giovanni? I love Giovanni. What bumbling cartoon character does Brad remind you of?
Oh, man.
Somebody said the clown from Animaniacs. They commented on that. I haven't watched a lot of Animaniacs. I cannot comment on the clown from Animaniacs. I don't have a cartoon character. And you know what? I think that makes Brad Goofy. The Avengers are just I can't do a Goofy voice. The Avengers are just falling from the sky. Actually, so far, how would you, Isabella wants to know how would you rate the series? I'll answer that first because I put up a poll today actually asking that question. Out of 5, I would give it a 2, 2.5 maybe. As for last week, I would have said 3, 3.5, but the more advantages we keep adding and the more time we spend on them really doesn't make me like it as much. Because it's so confusing. It's like the fire tokens. It's just confusion everywhere. What about you, Mary?
I probably agree. Like, again, last week, I like the idea of trying new things. It's too much. It's too much.
Well, follow-up question then. Minty wants to know, do you have any hope for the season? They say, I personally have absolutely none. So do you have any hope for the season to turn it around? There's always hope. It's like a movie.
No, I mean, yeah, I really am hoping it gets better and things improve, especially after the merge. I'm hoping that they, not tighten down is not the word, but eliminate some of this extra stuff. So yeah, you can always hope. Who knows if that's a real hope or not, but I'm hoping. I'm hoping too. Okay, well, that's all the questions I want to answer for today. We're over an hour, so I think we're good. Do you have anything else you wanted to add? No. All right, well, we'll see you all next time. Bye.